Hello and welcome to the start of your A-Level Media Studies course. My name is Mrs. Reed and I'm going to go through today and just explain some of the key information you will need to know as you begin studying the EDUCAS 603 Media Studies specification. One thing that I would really recommend is that you have a look at purchasing a textbook, a revision guide that will help you throughout the course. There's an image of that appears on screen here, and you can find it on Amazon if you search for Media Studies A-Level Year 1 and AS. Okay. Now, when we're studying media, we're looking at different forms of mass communication. So we are interested in studying a whole range of texts from different industries. We'll be looking at films, including Black Panther and I, Daniel Blake. We'll be looking at gaming and specifically interested in the Assassin's Creed franchise. We'll be looking at a range of music videos, including Beyoncé's Formation. We'll be looking at advertising, everything from film posters to different products such as washing powders, perfumes. We'll be looking at charity advertisements as well. We're very interested in news, so we'll be looking at different types of newspaper, news bias, online news, things like The Sun and The Times. And we'll also be looking at different types of media such as blogs, podcasts, radio programs. So it's a really varied and interesting course which enables us to get an understanding of the media as a whole and begin to analyse and deconstruct texts as well as create our own. What do you need to do in order to be organised to start this course then? Well, this year we are providing you with your media book, so you will have an exercise book. We'll be giving you a media folder, although you're welcome to bring a ring binder folder of your own if you wish. You'll need to bring with you stationery. We can't lend pens or pencils, so make sure you have a full range of stationery with you. Basic stuff, pens, pencil, ruler, highlighters, things that will help you in your study. And you'll also need to set up a blog. So keeping a blog is really good practice for media studies. It enables you to keep a progress of your time during the course and the different case studies and texts that you learn. You'll be able to use it for summarising and consolidating things that you learn in lesson, as well as recording research-based independent tasks. We use blogs later in the year when we are trying to provide evidence of our research and planning of coursework. For your coursework, you will be asked to create media products of your own. We call this NEA, or non-examined assessment. This is a really exciting part of media which lots of students enjoy, and it's a really good idea to get into those kinds of practices that enable you to be successful with NEA early on. So you'll need to record as much as possible on a blog and share your link with your teachers, who can regularly check that it is updated. So setting up a blog then, there's lots of ways that you can do this online and lots of websites that are totally free to use. I recommend using something like WordPress. And there is a link here on how to create a blog and a short video to guide you. If, however, you already use a blogging site or you have a preferred website to use, you can use that instead. But if you're a beginner and this is totally new to you, I recommend WordPress is a really easy site to access. So your learning this year is going to be organised into two different areas. You have your lesson and your face-to-face contact teaching hours, and those are split roughly 4 lessons with one teacher and 3 with another. You'll be studying a main topic for the first half term, that's advertising, and through that we will study the 4 key concepts of media. Alongside that then, you will have roughly 3 hours of independent study plus homework. That will be set via Show My Homework. And this again will be really varied. It will be directly linked to the things you're learning in lessons. And then we require you to do a range of things like learn key vocabulary using Quizlet. We might ask you to create updates on your blog or to do some wider reading and question answers. There might also be some research tasks and as well production tasks where you'll be designing and mocking up your own media products. The main thing to note here is that all of this work that you do independently will need to be evidenced. So keeping a record of that either on your blog or in your media folder is going to be vital. I've got some advice here on how to really manage your independent study time, and I think it's important that we get to grips with that very early. You'll see on your timetable you have timetabled hours that focus on media. So my advice is that you find a quiet, suitable place to work in the sixth form block, ideally with access to a computer, where you can focus on your study during that time. You'll want to log on to show my homework and look at the tasks that your teachers have set. And you may also want to make the utilise resources such as Quizlet or the knowledge organisers of revision guides that you might have. Any work can be then be printed out if it's done on a computer and added to your folder. You could write your notes in your book, or you might want to do a summary of each of those topics onto your blog, keeping that track record and progress as you move through the course. There's lots of suggestions here on how to manage your independent study effectively. I won't read through all of these now, but these are things that we will focus on in class and I'll be encouraging you to do in your own time. There's further useful revision resources too that I can recommend throughout the next 2 years. So alongside the textbook I've suggested, there's a revision guide and 2 excellent teachers who create YouTube content and videos for media studies. And they are the Media Insider and Mrs. Fisher. Both of those I would highly recommend subscribing to, and I will quite often provide links to their channels for revision. Okay, so what will we be doing in the first half term then? Well, half term 1 for us looks a bit like this. We have focused on an introduction to media. We'll be looking at then component 1, section A, and around advertising. Miss Riley will be teaching you about 2 key concepts. Those are media language and media representation. And in order to do that, she'll mainly focus on print-based texts, including a whole range of different advertisements. She'll also be teaching you some of the key theorists for language and representation too. So this is something new that you won't have done at GCSE level. In my lessons then, with Mrs. Reed, you'll be looking at industry and audience. And we'll also cover advertising, but we'll be looking a little bit more broadly. We'll go from print text into audio-visual. So those are adverts that you would see on the television. We'll look at audience theory too, and look at who the target audience for a text is and how the media might categorise them and try to understand them in different ways. So the 4 key concepts, these are the big 4 things that underpin everything that we do and study in media over the next 2 years. You will want to, over this first half term, really get to grips with what those key concepts are, and they will help you to be able to conceptualise and understand the new case studies as we learn them. So you'll be looking at, as I said with Miss Riley, the top 2, media language. So you'll be looking at how media texts are constructed, what codes and conventions are used in order to create and communicate meaning to an audience. So you'll look at things like signs and signifiers. You'll be interested in different shot types and cinematography, how sound and lighting might be useful to communicate ideas to an audience. For media representation, then you're going to be looking at how the media represents ideas about the world to an audience. So you'll be looking at the different types of social groups that are represented through the media. For example, whether that is class or age or gender. You'll be looking at particular political issues and again how the media might represent them. I'll be looking at media industries with you. Sometimes we hear that referred to as media institutions. So we'll be looking at who creates media, what are the different stages that are gone through production, distribution, circulation of media, how do media institutions generate profit. And then we'll be interested in the audience, who the audience are. How do different media institutions and industries target their audience? How do they create media products that are designed specifically for them? And also how those media audiences might respond to those texts in very, very different ways. So I've got a couple of tasks for you to have a look at this week before we meet. The first thing I'd like you to do is have a look at 2 short videos, and these are from the Media Insider. They ask the question, firstly, what is media studies? So he gives a really good overview with some excellent visuals and clips from films to demonstrate. But also, why study? Why is this such an important subject, and what kinds of things can you hope to gain from it? And secondly, I want you to focus on yourself as the audience. And this is the easiest way in, really, to thinking about media concepts. You, over the course of your life, and even probably within the last few hours, will have consumed an awful lot of media content. So I'd like you to start with a visual. Create yourself a collage of images that illustrate to us you as an audience. What kinds of things do you read or watch or listen to in terms of music? In other words, what media do you consume? So when you watch, listen and read a media text, we say, therefore, that you are a consumer. But you might want to go a bit further and think about, well, what things do you contribute to as an audience? So what apps, blogs, social media do you interact and engage with? It might be through uploading a picture, sharing a meme, liking somebody's post. When you interact and contribute to the media in some way, we say that you are, as an audience, a prosumer. You are actively contributing to the production of that text. And once you've done those 2 things, I would like you to create your first blog post. As I've said previously, use the video and the links to access WordPress and set up an account. You want to make sure that the title of your WordPress site is not your full name. Okay, it's really important that you give it a title that doesn't specifically identify you, a more general title. I'd like you to write a brief introduction to the subject of media studies. So using this video, using the videos that I've asked you to watch, give a brief overview of what media studies is. Include the 4 key concepts. I'd then like you to update with a personal blog post that describes your own media consumption. And you can write this in almost like a diary format. Tell me some things about you. What's the first type of media that you would consume each day? Do you pick up your phone immediately and check social media? What apps are you most likely to spend the most time on? Or are you a gamer? Is there something that you've played heavily through lockdown? You might include some more info about your favourite films or music artists, and include within that then your collage of images. You may wish to explain some of the key terms too, so whilst you're uploading this, also define the difference between the audience as a consumer and a prosumer. Okay, so I think there's plenty to be keeping you busy to begin with, and I would really encourage you to contact us on our college email addresses if you have any questions. It might be that you've tried to follow the links and you're having trouble with the blog. Please let us know. It may be that you've gone ahead, you've whizzed through that content, and you've found you've got more time. Again, let us know, and we will be more than happy to help. Okay, looking forward to meeting you soon. Bye!